Boom! So I was watching the World Rapid yesterday and I was watching Daniel Naroditsky play. This is a game between Andy Woodward, who is 25-30 FIDE, and Daniel Naroditsky, who is 26-38 FIDE. So Daniel's a little bit better. But in these sort of games, Rapid, it doesn't really mean a whole lot. But in this game, here we go. So Daniel plays an Indian and it transposes into a King's Indian defense with the Bishop Fian Keod on G7. White pushes for the center and Daniel just plays D6 to try and stop this, obviously. Andy develops his bishop, Daniel castles, Andy develops his other bishop. He's got the double bishop going on here. Daniel develops his knight on the side of the board. Kind of an interesting square to go to, but obviously there's jumps. Andy knight F3. Daniel pushes for the center. You may be thinking, hasn't he just given up a pawn? Well, after takes and takes, white just took this pawn thinking, oh, a free pawn. Then black can capture the queen, recapture, and then you got this move. And then you're winning the pawn back, because if they take, obviously you get this. So Andy sees this and just castles, which is a sensible move. And now Daniel can maybe think about doing something with this pawn. So he plays queen e7, which is the best move. Pawn takes, and knight jumps in to attack the queen. So Daniel does the sensible thing and moves his queen back. He didn't expect that one, did you? He doesn't want to trade off here because then it's just giving white strong pawns in the center. Andy plays queen c2, getting his queen developed, connecting the rooks, getting into a better position. There's no jumps here from the knight because this knight's there. So Daniel jumps his other knight onto the other side of the board to maybe attack this bishop, get the bishop off the board. I mean, bishops are known to be better than knights, although at my level, I'm sure a bunch of your guys' level, we always prefer knights, right? Comment below, guys. What do you like more? Knights or bishops? I prefer knights because I'm a basic bitch. Andy doesn't want his bishop to be taken, so he brings it back, and Daniel kicks the knight away. The knight goes back to that square. The queen goes back to e7 again, just putting the queen in a nice position. Maybe the knight can now jump here. Andy pushes Daniel's knight away up here. He just jumps back to a logical square. And the position at this stage is kind of looking a bit standard. Nothing crazy happening, right? Just a normal position. You just wait. Crikey. I love this game when I watched it. I was like, no way, that's sick. Bishop e3 from Andy. Knight h5 from Daniel. This looks like a good square for the knight. You would assume that that's what he's trying to aim for, right? Andy centralizes one of his rooks, and Daniel now plays f5. The best move is actually his idea that he was going for. This is the best move in the position, because if he takes, then this is good for black. Still a drawn position, but he's got a very powerful pawn here that with some support could be quite deadly in the endgame. So Daniel plays f4. Andy takes. Daniel takes back with the pawn. You could take back with the bishop, but then it just gets blocked and traded off, and it's kind of not worth it. Daniel's got a bit of a loose knight on h5 there, so he's got to be careful. Andy plays the best move, which is c5, which is a nice move in this position, because now he's threatening to maybe take this, because if he does, then the pawns are a bit crap for the rest of the game. Isolated pawn here. Daniel doesn't care, and he says, go on and isolate my pawns, mate. Knock you out in a fight, bruv. Chess boxing, who would win out of Andy, Woodward, and Daniel? I don't know. I think we'd all be losers in that situation. I feel like Daniel would probably win. He would just outsmart him, because Daniel is literally like the smartest person ever. Andy plays knight d4, jumping in the middle and getting away from this pawn that was pushing, but now the pawns are kind of strong, but at the same time, there's dangers, so Daniel has to be careful here. What does he play? What does he do? Is he going to protect his knight? He's not. He just plays f4, so attacking the bishop. This is quite a cool position, right? Because if he moves his bishop back, then he loses this knight. This knight is currently hanging. There's maybe potential for this idea. There's this idea. Like, there's a lot of stuff. So in this position, Andy captures the knight. So Daniel captures the bishop. Andy takes back that pawn with the pawn. Now he's got a massive open area around here. And it's looking a bit dangerous. Daniel can capture this pawn. He can bring his queen up, put some pressure on the bishop. Like, there's a lot of moves for Daniel in this position, but he chooses to capture the pawn first. I guess this is a killer square for the knight if he can get it in there. Andy plays rook f1, just trying to maybe trade off the rooks. Look at the time usage, right? Daniel's been blitzing out the moves. There's like 8 minutes, 9 minutes left on Daniel's clock. Andy's only got 5 minutes. He takes a good while. I was watching the game with the engine. I was thinking, wow, is that really the top move? There ain't no way Daniel is finding this. But then it is Daniel Naroditsky, so he probably will. And he does. And it is... boom! Oh my god, it's such a satisfying move, isn't it? Bishop takes on h3. Oh, it's lovely. Brilliant move. It's so nice. Let's go, Daniel! I'm always rooting for you, bro. Don't worry. Took him 1 minute 47 seconds to find that move. Would you have found that move in 1 minute 47 seconds? Don't you start lying and saying that you found that move. Don't you dare. The point is, it's a brilliant move because if he takes, right, then he has this, and then you can block with the queen, or you can go over here, and you're taking this, there's this threat. There's like so much stuff in the position. That's not even the best move. This is the best move. What is white doing here? Trading off rooks? Like, there's nothing there. You're taking this, this is coming in. Black's position is looking super good. So the best move is to actually take there, which is kind of bonks, but he doesn't play the best move, and he plays queen e2, which is just trying to be a defensive move, but he's kind of just given up a pawn for no reason now. He kind of should have taken it, so at least he can get some compensation with a piece, even if he was going to open up the entire position. Engine says it's safer with the whole position open to just take the piece. That's kind of crazy. Daniel plays a great move here, which is queen g5, which is just a line in it. Now he doesn't have to move his bishop. Engine really wants Andy to trade off the rooks and just go into some sort of endgame just down a pawn. But Andy doesn't play that, and he tries to kick away the knight on the side of the board. Daniel jumps his knight in. No, he doesn't. Oh my goodness, baby. Knight's being attacked, but he doesn't care about this because now if the queen takes, then he takes the bishop. No, he doesn't. He takes here. And if he goes over here, then you take this knight, and then if they take there, you take this, and then you're just up like a whole piece. Back in this position with all the dangers, all the stuff happening on the board, Andy plays queen c4, which is a check, but it's actually a losing move, even though you think, oh, well, it's a check, and now he has to move this, and he can take this. It is, but at the same time, Daniel just moves out of the way. Andy takes the knight, and Daniel just moves his queen up. He wants to keep hold of this bishop. He could have alternatively taken the pawn with a check. So there's a lot of tension in this position right now. Andy has to find a really defensive move. And he does. He plays a very resourceful move here, which is literally the only possible move. Defensive move, attacking the queen. Daniel plays the only move, queen h3. Now he's threatening mate again. There's very little that can be done here. So Andy plays knight f4, which is a nice move because it's forking these two pieces. And you can't really just sack the rook and then go for mate anymore, because this pawn will block this check on this file. So Daniel first puts in a check, queen goes up, and then he takes one of the rooks. Rook captures back, so the queen's in danger. Daniel plays this really simply and just goes to queen h2. Check, king slides back, and now there's a brilliant move. Can you spot this brilliant move? It's for Daniel, it's for Black. You have 5 seconds. If you spot this, I'm very proud of you. It makes perfect sense after it's played, but before, it's like, what? And it's like, oh yeah, of course. Rook f5. Oh! It's basically just a distraction, because if the queen takes, then it's pretty much mate. It is mate. There's nothing you can do. It's mate. Game over. I love these moves being spotted over the board. It's like so nice, isn't it? Like imagine spotting that move over the board. You'd just be so proud of yourself. Like, I'm so good. Andy is the 2500 FIDE, obviously spots this idea, and he just moves his queen to c4. Daniel goes queen c2. He's pinning the queen. He's also maybe threatening to bring the rook in, and then there's all sorts of mating ideas. So the game's almost over. Andy's last attempt, he brings the rook up to threaten attacking the queen, but by this time, there's too much stuff happening. There's this move, and there's this move, and it's kind of just game over. So Daniel takes with the queen like this, and it's game over. So Daniel takes with the queen, and Andy just resigns. He's down a whole piece now. Queen can only really recapture, and then there's this, and then the king's looking a bit stranded. Daniel goes 3.5 out of 4. Not bad for a first day. Daniel, you're a beast. I'm rooting for you. Let's go. If we're looking at the analysis, Daniel played 93.7% accurate, and Andy played 82.5. Daniel schmopened it.